Returning now to our top story, the terror attacks this morning in Russia. Officials say 2 female suicide bombers walked onto subway trains and blew themselves up. At least 38 people were killed. More than 60 were wounded. We're going to take an in-depth look at this now with Richard Weitz. He's a senior fellow and director for the Center for Political Military Analysis at the Hudson Institute. Hello there. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Moscow believes Caucasus rebels were behind this attack. Do you agree?
That is the most probable explanation, that there was a radical group. They have the means and they've made similar threats before, so it seems probable that it's some radical group from the Northern Caucasus region.
Why now?
Well, you could think of possible reasons. The anniversary of the subway's coming up, 60th anniversary. There's a May Day parade, but I think it's really something that they've been trying to do for a while, and this is just one occasion when they succeeded. According to the Russian internal security forces, they've thwarted similar attacks in the past. And as we know, the terrorists just have to get lucky once, and we have what we see today.
What do you make of the fact that the suicide bombers were women?
That's a standard tactic. This is particularly among Sunni terrorists in the North Caucasus. A lot of these women have suffered trauma from loss of son, loss of spouse, loss of father, and it's explained to them that they can revenge that and contribute to the cause by committing an act of terrorism. This was quite common in the early part of this decade, particularly in some of the sieges of the Moscow Theater, for example, in 2002. It's somewhat dropped off recently, but it's a better tactic because often women are not thought of as posing as much a terrorist threat as young men.
And they were known as the Black Widows. Now, the Russians are talking extremely tough. Putin is vowing a strong response. What do you expect will happen?
Well, they're certainly done what any city would do. They've tried to lock down better the Moscow subway and other transportation networks throughout Russia. We might see some changes in Russia's strategy for the larger region. They had basically declared victory about a year ago and now tried to move towards economic reconstruction, political restoration of some local autonomy. And they might reverse that. They might feel that the security situation has become too unstable, particularly around Chechnya, not so much in Chechnya, but some of the bordering regions. And so we might see a return back to some of the harsher, more militarized policies we saw earlier in the past 2 decades.
Does this group have links to Al-Qaeda?
It is possible. We don't know precisely who did it. I would not, though, I'd be very careful that in terms of what the word links is. It's very improbable they were a part of Al-Qaeda. They might have been a group that has decided to affiliate with themselves with Al-Qaeda, or been inspired by internet or videos of Al-Qaeda or what people from Al-Qaeda have said. But in terms of an operational link, it's unlikely. Al-Qaeda doesn't have the kind of potential we perhaps saw before 9/11. When it's more now, there are a series of independent groups operating in different countries that sort of claim to be under the Al-Qaeda aegis.
And lastly, would you expect that the United States would back Russia, depending on what they chose to do?
Well, depending on what they chose to do, President Obama, like other foreign leaders, has expressed grave condolences. Certainly, with the United States is opposed to terrorism. Now, then, there is an understanding, though, on the part of international terrorist experts, a too harsh response could be counterproductive, and certainly the United States would not approve of mass human rights violations, as would most other foreign countries. So, but again, the key word is depending, but most probably, at least initially, yes.
Richard Weitz, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.